Hello and welcome back to the Wizards Arena. My name is Draymore, and now we are tackling green cards from Zendikar Rising. This will be the EDH review of them, and we are reviewing them on a scale of 1 to 10. So our first guy is the Ancient Green Warden. Since we were last at Zendikar, he grew up and got old. He's a 5/7 elemental reach with 4 and 2 green as a casting cost. You may play lands from your graveyard, so this has the Rampant Excavator's ability on a way bigger body. If a land entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger it an additional time. So, we've had things like Panharmonicon, which lets it for creatures and artifacts. We've had other things that let you blink creatures to get the effects again. But this is the first time when a land enters the battlefield, it makes the abilities that it triggers do other things. If it be stapled to enchantments, it doesn't care what is going on, as long as when the land comes in, it makes something happen to the board state. So that's really cool. He's really big. He can block a lot of stuff. He can go in big butt decks. He can go in elemental Omnath decks. He can give you reach protection in mono green, which is very rare. So he's doing a lot of heavy lifting for the colors. I like him a lot. And this, I feel, is the single best green card there is. Going to give him an 8. I originally was going to give him a 9, but there are a few little ways he could have been better, but 8 is amazing. He's pretty solid. Like him a lot. So 8 he is. Let's truck on over to our next card. And that is a Shia Solo the Wild. 3 and 2 green for an XX elemental. Blah blah blah. Elemental power and toughness is equal to the number of lands you control. Okay. So that doesn't seem too remarkable. Non-token creatures you control are forest lands in addition to their other types. Oh, okay. So basically, it turns all your non-token dudes into lands. So your mana dorks become lands, all your other stuff. So it's very realistic that you could drop him on turn 4 or 3 with 3 lands, 2 mana dorks. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus himself because he becomes a land also. So yeah, like really early on, he can be a 5/5, 6/6. Really solid. Like him a lot. This is another way you can go. It's another way to use your mana. It's another way to use your creatures in your going wide strategy. Producing mana. We've seen this before as an enchantment. And now they're staple into a really big body. So this gets a 7. I like it. It's pretty cool. Cryptophysic rights I like a lot. This just now has the advantage of you can just smash people in the face with him. So let's move on to our next card. Cragplate Baylor, 5 and 2 green, 6/6. Can't be countered. Kick of 2 and a green. Hexproof haste. Was kicked, it enters battlefield with 4+1/+1 counters. With so many big green creatures being made lately, and like Carnage Tyrant already existing, and all this other stuff, he's just alright. He's nothing super excited to write home about. If you're into big, goofy beast, you can get him easily cheap. He's a 3. I don't think he's going to be worth a lot of money. He's kind of he's here. Yay. Our next card is the Inscription of Abundance. By far and away the best inscription. It's an instant, the only one that is. I don't know why they didn't design them all to be instances. You know, black could have easily probably been an instant. Blue, they would have had to do some redo to make it instant, but for a colorless and a green, put 2 +1/+1 counters on a creature. Gain X life, where X is the largest power among creatures you control, or a target creature you control fights another creature. Like, this is really good. And then for like 5 mana, you can like, oh, I can put 2 counters on this guy and have it fight this thing, and might as well gain life too while I'm at it. And it's all at instant speed. So this card is amazing. This card also clocks in at a 7. There's, you know, it does everything you want to. It's got several different moves to choose from. All of them are really good. Like, the weakest one's probably the life gain. But, like, if you're doing +1/+1 counters matter. If you're doing fighting matters. You know, there's already so many things it's doing that is so good for you. Our next card is Kaizan Mammoth. 2 green, colorless, 3/3, play a land. He gets +2/+2. He's on a land, which makes it slightly better, but he's really, I feel, unimpressive. He's going to do a lot more lifting standard. You know, he's basically a bear with that can get bigger with multiple land drops. If you want to play landfall deck, you probably now have enough pieces to do it in Commander. He gets a 3. I don't even know if you're going to bother with him. And the only reason it's that high is because of the Valley. Our next card is Lotus Cobra. You don't see Lotus Cobra that often in Commander. It just simply might be like a case of supply and demand. There's not enough supply of him. You know, he might be too expensive currently. I think he's going to be used a lot because there's lots of strategies he's good in. I'm going to give him a 7. Maybe it was just a lack of easy access was why he wasn't being played. I like him. 2/1 landfall. Again, on mana is really sweet. I'm assuming they would spend the price or lack of copies. That is why he's not been played. Our next card is the Oran Reef Ooze. This is one of the first oozes that has had me super excited when I saw it printed. It's 2 in the green for 2/2 ooze. And whenever it enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. So it's any creature, and it can also do it to itself. And with things now like hardened scales, you know, Dublin Seasons, Anointed Processions. There's so many options to double the amount of counters we're getting. Like also the one from Jumpstart. And Jumpstart cards are now getting more accessible. That's just really cool. And then whenever he attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on each attacking creature with a +1/+1 counter. Well, holy Christ. I mean, that's like really good. And then when you think about it, it's like, hey, we can, again, you can play him with a green elf from Aether Revolt. That when he comes into play, you put 2 +1/+1 counters on any number of creatures, and they can tap for mana. Like, that's just a deck right there of silly +1/+1 counters. It's another thing you throw in the Traxa. There's a lot of things he just slots right into, and it's really good. He gets a 7. It's just a really good card overall. Happy to see you, sir. Thanks for showing up. Our next card is the Scooter Swarm. 2 in the green, 1/1 landfall. Whenever land enters the battlefield, make a 1/1 bug. If you control 6 or more lands, create a token that's a copy of him. That's really cool. So it's like an exponential growth eventually. It's better than the one we had before, which just put a bunch of counters on him. So he is going to get a 7. And we are just going to move on. I mean, he's cool. Nice flavor. Like it. Swarm Shambler is a green for 0/0. When he comes into play, put a +1/+1 counter on him. Okay. Whenever a creature controls with a counter becomes a target of a spell an opponent controls, create a 1/1 green insect token. Okay. That works with the card we had 2 prior. Ooze Boy. And then you spend 1 and tap it to put a +1/+1 counter on Swarm Shambler. He's a 1-drop. You know, most 1-drops I see get played give you mana effects. He doesn't. I just don't see it. He gets a 2. He's just not that impressive. I mean, maybe if you go super crazy +1/+1 counters with the Traxa and stuff like that, and mana dorks with counters on them, that like the evolve thing, maybe, but I just don't see it. Our next card is Tagura the Paragon, colorless and a green for a 3/2 elf that counts as either a cleric, a rogue, a wizard, or warrior. Doesn't count as all 4 at the same time. You know, at any given time it can be one of the 4, not all 4. It's got a kicker of 3. If you kick it, you look at the top 6 cards of your deck, choose a card there that shares a creature type with them among them, put it in hand, rest in bottom library in a random order. So, you know, for 5 mana, look at the top 6, and you get your choice of a cleric, rogue, warrior, wizard, or an elf. Well, it seems like of all those things, elf is the most relevant. It's a 3/2, which after it comes into play doesn't do anything. It just kind of like sits there. It's alright. I don't think we're going to see much in the way of party. It's a 4. That's right, Ray. I heard you just eating. You're a fine child. You know, maybe in an elf deck to help you keep digging and applying pressure, or you're playing a commander that has the multi-kicker, or the one that just overruns all elves. But let's move on and see what else we have waiting for us. The Mythic Land. Turn timer symbiosis. 4 and 3 green. Look at top 7. Let me put a creature card from among them on the battlefield. If that creature has a CMC of 3 or less, put 3 +1/+1 counters on it. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. It's on a Mythic Land. You can pay 3 life and have it enter the battlefield untapped, which is, again, not even 1/13 of your life. Do that all day long. Look at the top 7. You get a dude like, you know, it's not the best. There's been other spells that do similar effects. Yeah, it can buff things, but then you got things like you can't play it in a Hydra deck or anything really to speak of like that. You know, it's okay. You know, I'm going to give it a 5 because of the land. You know, the CMC, you know, putting a guy into free is kind of nice. But, I mean, even in just, we are digging 7, you know, so it's not like we're hoping to hit in top 3, something cool. It's okay. feel like for Commander, this is probably the best card we got. That's a Mythic Land. They tried to make sure none of these were super overpowered. And that is the end of green. Overall, green has been our best color so far. You know, it's got several 7s, a couple mid-range cards, the one that I gave an 8 to. Green has done the best. My name's been Draymore with the Wizards Arena. Please like, share, and subscribe, and comment below. Follow us on Facebook, and if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do that. It really helps us a lot. And I will see